Welcome to my second productivity video, this time focusing on to-do lists and making them as useful as we can. In my first video I looked at Inbox Zero, and in Inbox Zero there were some very strict rules that if you don't abide by, the system simply collapses. With to-do lists they're a lot more flexible, so I'm going to give you just some hints and tips today how to make your to-do lists as effective and as useful to yourselves as possible. In my first video I talked about having an action folder and to carrying out most of your actions direct from that folder. Your action folder really works hand in hand with an effective to-do list. If we get both your action folder and your to-do list working in harmony, we're going to keep you organised, ensuring you are effective and most of all making you look good. I recommend you have two lists as a minimum. Your project list, first of all, that's your strategic level list, which will keep a record of every project you're working on currently. And a project is any task that you need to carry out that has more than a couple of steps involved. Next, you need a master action sheet. And those master actions are, from each of your projects, the next individual action that you must take. As a brief example, if I was arranging a staff meeting, that would be a project because I would need to book the room, arrange an agenda and decide what we wanted to discuss. We have our project list and we have our master action list. There are two schools of thought as to whether we need any more. Some will say that in addition to this you need a daily action sheet. That's a small sheet that you take the most pressing actions from your master action list and you focus on those for the day ahead. It would be sensible to have that daily action sheet if you had a lot of tasks on your master action sheet or if you needed to really focus on just a small number of tasks. I don't have a separate daily action sheet because I just use the master action sheet and highlight the important entries so I can focus on them before moving on to the other actions. I've now started adding a few actions to my to-do list in front of you. The key to these actions is keeping them specific so you know exactly what you're going to do next. If you've thought about this when you write the list, you don't necessarily need to think about it so deeply when you actually come to do that action. When you produce your to-do list, you may want to think about grouping actions of a similar nature together. So for example, if you need to phone a number of people, group those together on the list. If you need to do a number of actions while sitting at the computer, again, group those actions together too. To make my to-do list work for me, I have a section at the bottom of the to-do list that I fill in as and when I need it, about issues I need to raise when I speak to various people or attend various meetings. For example, providing an update on what's going on in my world to the senior leadership team meeting. In front of you then is the finished to-do list, if you like. I've got my specific actions that I need to carry out. I've got my section at the bottom of the form that reminds me of issues I need to raise at meetings I attend, and I've also highlighted with red ink the important actions I need to complete promptly. Those are my top tips for keeping an effective to-do list, working hand in hand with Inbox Zero. There are other options for maintaining a to-do list. You can do so digitally on the computer or on your smartphone. For me that hasn't worked. I find the most useful to-do lists are ones I write out by hand, and when I finish with them I can rip them up and start a new one. I wish you good luck in having a go at using to-do lists.